Hiya. Hello. Thank you for joining me. I'm about to invite Stacy from Sheldon Hill Vintage Jewels to come on and chat with me for a live. So let me see, has she joined yet? Let me invite her. No, she still hasn't come on yet, so we'll wait a bit. So I'm really excited today to do a live with the gorgeous Stacy. I mean, it seems really strange me chatting to her because she's the queen of lives. So hopefully it should be quite a good live because she's a pro at this. I don't know if the light is good on this video, if you can all see me well. Yeah, we've made the live today slightly later so that hopefully we can get a few people from America and other countries on board watching as well. If there's anything that any of you guys want to chat about or ask us questions, we will try and keep an eye on the comments. It's quite difficult often to chat when you're in the middle of something and people comment. So if you think that we've not answered you, we're not ignoring you. We will try and here she is. Okay. Add as a moderator, unfollow, remove. No, I want to invite her. Right. Hi, Stacy. Thank you so much. I'm going to invite you now. Go live with Sheldon Hill. Go. Hi, Stacy. I have invited you. Have you not got the invite yet? Shall I try again? Oh, no, hello.
Hello.
Oh, thank you for joining me, Stacy. I was a little bit worried there that it hadn't come through. I did have that once where I had a guest on and I kept inviting them and they couldn't join me. So
lives for Instagram.
Yeah, well, you should know. I mean, I mean, I watch you in awe because I think you're just so good at them, Stacy. Whatever throws you, you just go with it. You're a pro.
You know, it's fun, and I think that's why I've been doing it all these years. Of course, it's been a wonderful way to connect with people such as yourself. You can feel like an island unto yourself when you own a shop like you do, like I do.
Yeah,
you have your
definitely.
But Instagram opened up a whole new world. It really reinvigorated my career and enthusiasm. So it's really super cool.
Well, I always say, that I don't know, over 10 years ago or however long Instagram's even been going now. I think 2016 I joined. But even now when I'm at my shop and I was just packing something up to post for the end of the day just now, and I thought, crikey, I can't believe the way we're working now compared to 10, 15 years ago. And we've all adapted to it without sort of probably really realizing, haven't we? Do you know?
Absolutely. You have to adapt, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, in the beginning of our careers, probably, I'm in my 50s, I started in my 20s. I mean, I had no money. I had no money and only the benefit of real books. If I could, find one at the library or, find one at Walden Books or Barnes & Noble. Oh my goodness, it's a real-time thing happening. It's the FedEx man delivering my Omega watch.
Well, you take that. I can hold the fort because we're pros at this now.
Hold on a second. I'm coming. I've been waiting for this.
Take it, and I'll chat to people, Stacy. Don't worry.
Bullshit. This is
go to FedEx.
Oh wait, Rich is coming down. He's going to take it. We're coming. He said,
I'm really glad that's happened to you because I've had a few crazy things happen during lives. You couldn't make it up.
So coming through the door right now is a beautiful, outstanding 14-karat gold watch case. It's a man's, well, it would have been a man's watch originally. I'd wear it with my big wrists, but it's my first try at an Omega, and it's a 1970s 14K Omega. And here it is. Rich is holding it up right now, sweetie. Thank you.
Sweetie. Stacy, is Sweetie camera shy?
Is he camera shy? You know, Sweetie is the kind of person who he's a fabulous support person, and he's not a front and center kind of person. Like, I've always had jobs that put me in front of a lot of people. Although in our other side of our life, you know, sometimes people catch us here and there. We own a Tai Chi studio, and we both are Tai Chi instructors, and he is the lead instructor. Oh, Cece, thank you. I'm used to looking at comments, so I'm going back and forth. And
yeah, so am I. Is that how you met him? Is that how you met him, Stacy?
Yes, in 2014, I had to end an 8-year-long relationship, you know, for, I can assure you, very good reasons, with someone who is not my daughter's father, but, you know, he had to go, and took care of that. And then I was a year with my daughter, just thinking, I mean, you know, life was busy with business, raising the kid. I had no friends, really. I had lots of acquaintances. I said, I need to do something with my life, you know, like something important that's outside of my work. And I remembered when I used to bring my daughter to daycare before. I used to be a high school social studies teacher before all this as well. And it was so stressful. I had to get her to daycare and then get on to the school. And at a very, very busy intersection, there was a gas station and a place where 3 or 4 roads came together in Ithaca. And it's well known here. And it was called the Octopus. And everyone knew what the octopus was. And in the middle of that was a patch of grass. And an old man of Asian descent, I don't know that he was necessarily Chinese, he could have been American, but a man of Asian descent was there doing his thing every single morning. And I'd be zooming and stressed, and the kids screaming, and she's barely dressed. And then in the middle of the chaos was this man always doing this movement. And I'd look at him and be like, what's going on over there? What is that all about? And after I broke up with this fella, you know, back in 2014, I remembered that man, and I said, you know, he had something special going on. He
knew the secret of life.
he knew something I didn't know. Yeah. And I looked around in the newspaper, the sad phone book, and I found a Tai Chi group that was doing Tai Chi here in Ithaca. I said, well, I'll go to the open house, give it a try. My daughter was like, yeah, right, Mom. Uh-huh. And it's almost 10 years later, and I'm an instructor in my own right. And yes, I met Rich there. And the story's good because my initial instructor, her name is Janet, and she was a woman well into her 70s at the time as the instructor. Yeah. And I was, I don't know, in my late 40s, and I was one of the younger. I mean, it tends to attract a bit of an older crowd. And so not a lot of men at the Tai Chi. So, of course, hey, I'm a single woman now. I'm looking. And immediately, I see this man named Rich, and I say to Janet, you know, it's a few weeks I've been there. I'm like, who's that? And she goes, that's Rich. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, he looked about my age. And she goes, he's married. And I said, oh shit, you know, all right, okay. Well, next week later, so I see another fella, and he looks pretty good. I said, who's that? Well, that's Jim. He's married. And I said, well, you know, Tai Chi. I mean, you know, want to make a few friends, but wouldn't be a bad idea to meet a guy. So all these years went by, and then in 2019, you know, he's teaching. I've made it through the ranks to become an assistant. I'm an instructor in my own right. He's an advanced instructor. I was a beginning instructor. We knew each other, said hi, how you doing, barbecues, this and that. And then one time I saw him with another young woman, and I thought to myself, oh, you know, what do I know? I don't know anything. And I said, well, that's nothing I'm getting involved in, and none of my business, you know. No. To know that, you know, through amicable means, you know, he had, and his wife had decided to move on, and as well, oh, he's with someone else, and good for him, and you know, maybe that can happen for me too. And then I came to know that just didn't last very long, and the second I recognized him to be an available single man. You know, I just started to chat it up. And his daughter was, she likes to be in the theater and all that. And he told me that she was going to be in a production. And would I maybe like to see the production? I said, absolutely. And so went to that. And then, you know, it was a little bit of, you know, go out a couple of times. But then together, you know, it was on, and we've been together ever since. And yeah, having that connection in Tai Chi has been wonderful. But he's also been a great support to Sheldon Hill. And
because Stacy, I remember, I think before you were with him, because you were on Instagram, weren't you, just on your own, and you mentioned your daughter and things.
yeah.
Or he wasn't in the scene, and then when he started to come in the scene and help you, I really noticed a change in you. Like I could see a sparkle in your eye.
Oh, well, that's not. Oh, he brought.
Is that fair to say?
I'd say it's absolutely fair. I mean, I know I was only in my late 40s when I broke up with the other person, but you know, I had been married to my daughter's father, and you know, I really gave it a go. And I have to admit, I just thought maybe, you know, you get some things in your life and you don't get everything. And I really thought for some reasons it just really wasn't in the cards for me, that I was going to live my life as a single woman and be okay with that. And it literally was at the moment where I was like, I'd go home to my apartment with my cats and, you know, get my supper, this, that, glass of wine, watch some NCIS. And I thought, well, you know, this isn't a bad life. And I finally got to a point where I was okay with being a single woman. And just doing my thing. And of course, that's the time that we got together.
They often say that, don't they, in life, though? I think if you go looking for something too hard, you won't find it. And I think you've got to learn to love yourself before someone else can love you, you know?
And
I think that sounds like you really doing your Tai Chi and with your jewellery business and everything else. I think, you know, and Stacy, you are, and I don't just say this just on here, just for saying its sake, but I always think you are so genuine. Your lives are so, you are just a natural, and you know, I believe that how you are is probably how you are in real life. You know, I feel like if we you know, met for a drink, we'd have a really good chat and a good laugh. So I feel like I've got somewhere in common with you. And I must say, some people that are online on Instagram, and you know, even people that I follow, and then I follow them for a bit and I think, I don't really feel good about following you anymore. I don't know, some of the things they come up with and say, and I feel, you know, one of my priorities, and I believe you're like this as well, is I always want to make people feel good, even if they can't necessarily buy the jewels. You know, always be polite, always be pleasant, and you know, try not to you know, cross that line where it's difficult, isn't it, when you're selling things? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. And, you know, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm just a people person. You know, I was born that, you know, and so I'm interested in people. I like to communicate with them. I like to laugh with them. You know, I mean, maybe that's what gives me some energy. You know, people, there's other people, maybe they're loners, and that's what they need. They need solitude and all that. And I definitely need my downtimes. I think that's where the Tai Chi thing comes in.
I do. I agree with that. Yeah, I do. I mean, I don't know about you. I was going to ask you, because how many lives do you do a week, Stacy? Do you do 3?
I do 2.
You do 2?
Always. Oh, thank you. I'm Karen. Thank you, and Puzilla. It's nice
I saw that.
You.
Yeah, how lovely. Thank you very much, Karen.
I do Tuesdays and Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've always done once in a while, you know, if I have a special thing, I'll throw it in there. But I keep it pretty predictable, so people know where to find me.
I think that's good. Yeah, that's like
I don't do those.
Trying to do with Fridays.
I can't stand the idea of you know, everyone's free to do their own show, because I'm on 2 hours, you know, twice a week. I can't do those 4-hour to-dos. I mean, no. I'm 50 years old. I got to get to sleep. You know? So I try to get my under
some
1.
of them drag on, don't they?
Oh.
But even after you've done them, do you? Because even after us chatting for an hour, because I think I can see you're the same. You know, we're really concentrating and into it, aren't we? Listening to what we're saying to each other. I feel quite tired when I've done them. Do you?
Yes.
Emotionally, do you feel that?
Yeah. Sometimes I'm super wired and it's hard to go to sleep. You know, I mean, in a perfect world, I'd like to you know, have like by 11 p.m. Sometimes I'm just like, you know, and I don't even invoice after the show. I wait till the next morning.
Oh, I can't. I was going to say, if you did that, I'd just think you're a bloody superwoman or something. How you would do that, you know?
This is I don't know. I mean, I know that there can be some instances where you might have someone claim something and you feel like, well, if I don't send the invoice now, maybe they won't pay. On the whole, I've been doing these lives for 7 years. I think only one person, beat me to the lives in the antique and vintage jewelry category. Yep. So that's a long time. And the vast majority, 99.99% of my viewers and customers are fantastic. And, I've never had any worries about the non-pay or what the heck am I going to stay up till 2 a.m. for to invoice to make sure I get my money. Holy cow. Morning, I got to go.
No.
And
also, we're generally, the things that we sell, and I always say this, and sometimes I think, God, I bet people get fed up with hearing me say it, but sometimes if a deal does fall through and, the person changes their mind for whatever reason, I just think that wasn't meant to be. I really believe that. Mm-hmm. And it will find who it's meant to be. And it always happens. And sometimes it's quite in a bizarre set of circumstances that almost the ring or the pendant or the earrings or whatever it might be, it's almost like they've gone, no, I don't actually want to belong to that person. I need someone else, and then it happens. And it's crazy. It's like a sort of weird magic, that goes on with the jewelry. But I was sorry, just to blabber on, I know I keep going off on a tangent. I've got a whole list of questions I want to ask you. I'm sure we won't get through them. But when you do a live, Stacy, do you hold back? Do you buy all week and hold stock back for the launch? How do you prep a live when you're going to go live?
Mm-hmm. I had a retail store like you for 12 years.
Yeah.
So I still have a fair amount of inventory in all categories, from Native American to vintage rhinestone, Victorian, et cetera, et cetera. So I work through that. But yes, I definitely prepare.
Sorry, Stacy, Joy's just saying hi.
Great, thanks, Joy, for being here, and everybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I have my haunts like everyone else, places that I can go that are dependable, and then you have the element of surprise. Someone contacts you, hey, do you buy antique jewelry? Yes, I do, and then you hit the jackpot there. So yes, I prepare for each show, and I enjoy curating it. I only show 3 trays. There's 12 spots in each tray, so I show only approximately 36 items.
Oh, unless do you? You've literally got a plan.
Oh yeah. I'm very, very clear about how the show is done and how we produce it. I get better and better all the time in terms of making my infamous green stickies. I give you all the
great. They're really good, and you can see them well, Stacy.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
And so that works well. And then, if something doesn't sell, and a fair amount of them sell, then I can just, put it in a tray, with green stickies. And then I know for the future, I don't have to reweigh. I don't have to redo the ring sizing. And I might bring it out again. I don't run things over and over and over again. If there's just no demand for that piece, I'll put it away for a year. And I'll bring it out in another year, and then it might be nude again.
Will often sell then. I find sometimes when something's just not going to go, I put it to bed, I put it to sleep, like you said, for a year, sometimes even longer. I've done that, and then you put it out, and it sells. It's really, again, some sort of magic that happens.
Yes,
and it's crazy. But do you find you have a percentage when you've done a live of how much you will sell from a live, or can one go really well and one just not go well?
I would say since the pandemic, that's the pandemic is like the marker in our life now. Before pandemic,
it definitely is. I agree. Yeah.
I have a certain level of dependability in terms of how I think it's going to go. There's always surprises. Something I think, maybe somebody will like it. Everybody wants it. And then something I think is the winner of the night, it's a loser. And I'm like, well, I'm going to be looking at that thing for a while. So I suppose I have high hopes for each show. And a lot of times I'll say to Sweetie, this show is going to be great. We're going to do great tonight. And then I warn myself because, in our tradition, I'll link back always probably to Tai Chi. You know, the tradition there is, I'm not a religious person. I consider myself more spiritual.
Same as me. Yeah, that's the same as me.
But the idea is in some, I'm going to muck this up, but in some, you know, in Chinese philosophy, there's good fortune and bad fortune. And anything can be either, you know. Oh my God, I broke my leg. Oh, what bad fortune. But let's say the next day I was going to get hit by a bus. Breaking that leg was good fortune.
Yeah.
So when I say to Sweetie, oh, tonight's going to be great, you know, it's going to be the best show ever, I always say, hey, you know what? I'm going to take that back. We're going to have a good time tonight. We might not sell anything at all. And if we do, that'll be great. Because I never want to go in thinking, you know, oh, I've got it all figured out. I'm going to sell everything. Because that's not the goal. I mean, sure, I am making my living doing this, but there's a lot more going on there. My relationships with my viewers are very important to me. It's not proprietary. I have chats with them. I have a fantasy of someday all of us getting together somewhere, you know, in mid-United States and having a big old party. And if I can make that happen, that would be a highlight of my life, to bring these people together who only know each other through these shows, and also to be there with them just once. That would be better than 100.
I agree with that. Yeah, it's because you feel like a real fondness there, don't you, towards, well, I feel like that towards you, you know, like you know, sort of a member of a family somehow, you know, that we're all a support group for each other, you know.
It's wonderful to have known, you know, learned about you and other prominent sellers in the UK and then throughout the United States. I felt like sometimes as a single business person and a single mom, sometimes I just felt very disconnected and pretty alone in the world. And Instagram made me feel like there's people like me out there, people who like what I like, and I'm not weird and I'm not strange. And because, you know, my family, I might be a bit of the black sheep, you know, my other family members, very straight, dependable jobs with 401ks, and their retirement is all on paper. And, you know, my retirement is, a lot of it sitting on this table in front of me.
Yeah, you're right, Stacy. We don't, I think, as an antique dealer, I mean, I don't know about you, but before Instagram, you know, because I've spent more years dealing in jewelry before Instagram, I didn't really tell people what I did. I mean, obviously people knew that I had the shop, customers that would come to me, but in an outside world, and if someone occasionally would ask me, and I'd say, oh, I deal in antique jewelry. And the funny thing is, you know, I mean, I gather most people know what an antique is, but they'd go, oh, antique jewelry, what's that? Costume jewelry? What's that? They really had no idea. That's changed now, because I think of Instagram and the World Wide Web, Etsy, First Dibs, all these sort of online platforms, and people want a part of it now. People do finally seem like they're a bit more educated about it, which is great, isn't it?
It is. And it feels so good. You know, I'm sure that, you know, you have your stories about maybe someone you sold to, or maybe a particular event that someone was buying for. And one of my highlights, it was super exciting, was when a customer came into my store in Ithaca, New York, and you know, they were connected to politics and whatnot. And they were going to Obama's inauguration, and that was a really exciting thing. It's like, wow, you know, what I'm doing, you know, it has meaning. You know, someone's gonna choose something here from my store
to wear.
That's
so special. That really is special. When, yeah, I mean, I've had a few things like that over the years, and you know, where someone's told me the story of how that, what, you know, whether it's a proposal or an engagement or a special anniversary gift, and I feel so honoured. I don't know if you do, that they've come to me, chosen me, and bought jewelry from me, excuse me, you know, and you just think, and it's like part of that journey. You become part of that journey and part of that memory that, you know, hopefully they'll always remember you and you'll always remember them. You know, someone's made a comment, Stacy. Can you see what they've said?
Who's and Lisa Marie Puzilla has been with me since day one. Hold on one second. She's been with me since day one on my shows. I've got the comments up over my face now. Are they over my face?
Yes. I don't know how I stopped that. Do you?
No, I just did it. I just clicked on the comment, and now I know how to fix it when I'm running my own show. I'm going to try something.
Well,
I'm just going to click.
You could teach me that, because I have no clue how to do that.
I just touch the screen and kind of scroll down a bit and make sure not to touch any of those little white icons, because sometimes my thumb goes over and I'm like, oh, do you want to cancel the video? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, so that's what I don't want to do. So I'm moving all the comments down.
Yeah.
But then I can't see the comments as they come up.
Thanks, sweetie. Sweetie says I look okay. It's
yeah,
good.
you do. You do. I'm going to scroll back up because I missed the comments as they're coming. But it's funny, Stacy, because I've got a list of questions, and one of the things I was going to ask you was who was the most famous person you've ever sold something to, and you just said about the comment with the person going to was it Obama's inauguration? Was that it?
That was one especially fun thing. But I've also Ithaca is known, is a wonderful place, home to Cornell University, so it's an Ivy League town. It's in upstate New York. It's spectacular, and so we do have a few celebrities that have come through, and regardless of current popularity and whatnot, some years ago, one of my customers was Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, Whoopi Goldberg! Oh my God, I love her. I haven't seen her around for a while.
Yeah. I mean, life moves on, and everybody's careers change, and popularity, whatever. But you know what? She was
so funny, wasn't she?
She was funny, but I will tell you, as a customer, she's much smaller than I thought she'd be, and she had a way about herself when she moved through the store, as if she put think the Harry Potter, like an invisibility cloak, and her whole persona was down, so you would just think she was another customer. She wasn't up with a bright face and that big smile that we all know, and many people didn't even know it was her. But I understood that she wanted the anonymity, and so when she was in my store, I just treated her like anybody else.
You treated her like anyone else. I think a lot of famous people and celebrities, that's all they want when they're not in their work mode, unless they're going to a premiere or some event, PR event where they have to be on show. That's absolutely all they want, is just to mix into life with everyone else and just be normal. When I've been at antique markets, I have met a few people, and I've shown them jewelry and been talking to them, and it's funny, and it's only like at a certain point where I've got eye contact and I thought, oh, I know who you are. But I thought in my head while I'm talking to them, I thought, I don't want to change and look like I'm going to treat you any differently, and so I've never sort of initiated that I've known who they were. I had Madonna once come and look at a piece of jewelry of mine at Portobello, and she had a baseball cap on, and she was with her minder, and she was very pleasant, very polite. I've had a few years ago Blondie, Debbie Harry.
Sure.
A few years ago she looked, and then I had an English actress who was in a James Bond film. Keely, was she in a James Bond film? I'm trying to think of her name. Yes, she was. She was in, I think, Casino Royale. She's a French actress. I can't think of her name, but she was absolutely stunning. So some of these women that are on James Bond and you think they're beautiful, when you meet them in real life, her jawline, Stacy, and her skin, and she didn't have makeup on, and she was just in plain clothes with her mother, and they were talking French, and she did buy a ring from me, actually. Only a very inexpensive ring from my costume jewelry that I had on the table. But the funny thing was, I never let her know that I knew who she was, and she stayed for quite a while and chatted, and I felt that was the right thing to do. You know?
Yes. I'm having a memory. I'm embarrassed that I didn't know who it was at the time, and Sweetie is watching the show, and he'll probably yell it to me from upstairs. One of the least known, from my perspective, member of the band known as Kiss was in my store right before the pandemic, and I can't remember which one it was. Maybe Sweetie will scream down which guy it was. It wasn't. It wasn't.
What band is it, Stacy?
Yes.
Kiss.
So those that used to dress up and paint their.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yes.
So
it wasn't the lead singer, was it?
No, it wasn't the lead guy who, was the kind of the scarier looking guy.
Yeah.
It was background people. Oh, it was Pete. Here, sweetie, it was Peter Chris, and he was hanging out in the store, and other people, you know, in our age group and older, you know, I could tell there was something going on there, and but inside I didn't follow that band, and of course it's decades later. So finally, someone told me that that's the fellow from Kiss. And so how about that? You know, how about that?
Oh, I know. Well, I suppose we all come into the world the same and go out the same. But it's quite exciting when you meet somebody like that. You sort of feel, you know, quite honoured, really, don't you? But then, like you say, you feel. I remember because I used to have a stand in Grays, which is just a really great antique centre in the centre of London, just off Bond Street. And I met a guy then. I'm trying to think. He may have been in Kiss. I remember chatting to him for a bit, and I realised after he'd gone that he was someone famous, and it might come to me in a minute who he was, but he's often in the news. Can't think of his name now, but he said he used to have a ranch in Nevada, and he was looking at a ring for his wife. He didn't buy it from me, but I think he was a regular visitor to Grays in London. You know, a lot of them, they love to buy antique jewellery, and obviously they've got the money
True.
to do it. So I'm glad that some of them do come to us, Stacey, because I do feel some of them might be a bit railroaded into like staff that work for them and just go and buy that and pay the top money and not come and support small businesses like us. Do you know what I mean? I
do know what you mean. And, you know, it's running a small business is, you know, it's like having two children at once.
Yeah.
You know, my daughter used to say, Sheldon Hill is your favorite child. And sometimes you know, but at the same time, it requires constant attention, you know, like a child, like a pet, like a plant. You don't water it, it gets wilted, it might die. You know, you have to be on it all the time. And
I think that's one thing through all my Friday chats with all the dealers and people in our community that we've chatted to. I mean, I was literally answering messages to customers before I came on with you. And and I know you're the same as me. It's so important to me. I always want people to know that even if someone does message me at 10 o'clock at night, if I'm still awake, I will answer it. I don't know if that's a good thing, because I think some people do literally just turn their phone off at the weekends and don't do Instagram. But I feel I'd go out of business if I did that.
I agree. I mean, there are times that, you know, after a show, I'll still be DMing people. Maybe they want some extra photos. They weren't sure about a piece. I'll wake up in the morning, like I'm sure you do, and you know, Joy's watching, I know, and other dealers. You wake up to DMs, and that's part of the business. Yeah. And my friend Isadora's Antique Jewelry. Not only does she have like incredible jewelry, but she's an awesome person. And I went to Seattle many years ago and found her shop, and I went in, and I had the best time ever.
Oh, yeah. Stacy, are you ever going to come to the UK? I'm hoping. And I'm going to let you know when I book it, but I'm hoping to come to New York to the show in the fall.
Yes, to come. This is the one he's putting together?
Yes, he's doing one, and there's one, isn't there, just before as well, I think, a week before.
Okay. Yes.
So I'm hoping just to come and have a little short mini break, you know, a trip round and like touch base with you, hopefully. I don't know if you're free, but maybe we could go out for dinner. That's what I'd love to do.
I will absolutely. I'm from Long Island originally. My mother still lives on Long Island and other families. So it's nothing for me to fly into JFK. You know, I get a train to my mother's house and I can come into the city, and I absolutely will be there. You just tell me that.
Oh, I will so look forward to that. You know, I've got a few friends that live in New York now, and I keep saying I'm going to come. Yeah. And I used to come nearly every 3 months, so about 10 or 15 years ago, and did one of the first shows, the main organization, the same organization that run the Miami Beach show, they had one. I'm trying to think of the name of the building that it was in, and it was the Antique and Watch Jewelry Show, and it was in July, beginning of July. It was so hot, and I remember I did that show, and I saved lots of lovely pieces, Georgian pieces, things that I'd die to have now, you know, and we virtually sold out. And I remember I only barely made the show. I just made the expenses because I didn't put much on. I was just selling them at trade prices. And I thought, no wonder, when I look back now, I feel so stupid. But people, I hope people realise they had some good buys off me. But, you know, it's good. And I've made sort of lifelong contacts through that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So Stacy, what made you decide to let the shop go?
Oh, good question. Let's see. In 2006, I believe, 2006, 2005, something like that. I had been a high school teacher, and really that wasn't my chosen profession. It was what I was ready and qualified to do. I got divorced, and I needed to have a kind of a real job to support myself.
Yeah.
So, you know, I did that for about 5 years, and that's not really what I want to do. So I decided I got myself an antique mall. A man who'd had one, a really nice antique mall, blew it apart through reasons that are only known to him. And I took that over and had a few years of that. Then I broke off, and this former partner that I had spoken about earlier in our interview ran the antique mall, and I opened the Sheldon Hill Boutique in 2008.
I loved your shop. It was a really long shop, wasn't it, with lots of glass cabinets?
It was.
Yeah.
Yes, it was a store. And I started out around the corner in a much smaller space, and then I had an opportunity, 2 years into it, to take that larger space, which I did take. So on the whole, I was doing that for 12 years. And that means 12 years of
a long
Christmas Eves, 12 years of being the number one. I only had a couple of part-time people once in a while. A lot of times I worked.
That's a lot of work, Stacy. Oh my goodness.
Work and raising her on my own. So I think that for me, I just was ready. I felt that me as the asset of my store, I needed a break. And I think that retail can be hard on a primary business owner.
Yeah.
And, you don't get to go on trips. You miss every Christmas Eve, all of it, because I was there for everyone else's Christmas Eve. I remember I would 4 p.m. and that was it, and they knew. And usually on Christmas Eve, it was the men's club. It would be all the men that would come that day. And it was a wonderful time because they were under the gun and they would spend. And I would say, I'm going to give it.
I know that. Let's say under the gun. That's it. They've got to come and buy something.
And you could tell it's well, I better get one for the daughter, one for my wife, I better get my aunt, So it was a good day business-wise. But at the same time, I became a little bit retail weary. And with Instagram really increasing, I saw the potential and how excited I
need to have the shop.
No. I mean, in honesty, sometimes what would happen in one live show, one of my original live shows was a Friday happy hour show. And I used to put the crown on and crack
I loved that. I loved that when you did that. I wondered if you were going to do that today.
Oh, I don't have the crown with me. The crown is at my other location where I run my shows. I'm in my home right now. It didn't occur to me to wear the crown. I think that, I don't know, it's your show, not my show. So steal your thunder. I'm just here as Stacy, and your guest.
I was going to say, we could have had a glass of sparkly, because originally, Stacy, we were going to have the show on my birthday, weren't we? June the 30th. And then, of course, I had to say goodbye to my dog. So it sort of just threw everything was sort of off kilter that week. So I just felt it wasn't the right time. But anyway, nevertheless, everything happens for a reason, doesn't it? So, the fact that
I didn't answer your question directly, and I try to be cognizant of not giving you like a political answer and never answering the question. I answer your question. So I closed the shop because Instagram was really showing a lot of promise. I was having a good time there. One show sometimes could produce more income for me than 3 days at my store sitting there for 8 hours. So I saw the writing on the wall.
It was obvious.
It was obvious.
Yeah.
And just when Sweetie and I were first together, and he thinks I have this big store, and like, wow, she's really got it all together. And I'm like, I'm closing the store. And, for a moment, like a hot minute, he might have thought I was a Fruit Loop or something. But it was the right decision.
Yeah.
And I've always had a good intuition. I have a good intuition. It's one of my kind of superpowers. And I know when the time is right for things. And I just I can't say I'm great at a million things in life, but that's something I seem to have as a
But the funny thing is, Stacy, I think I asked you that, and I wasn't trying to grill you, because I think I sort of realized it was obviously through Instagram. But again, I've seen since you met your partner and then got rid of the shop and selling like this, I feel like you found you're in your zone now. You seem like you're in your happy place. It definitely comes across. Not that I don't think you were before, but you seem like you found, you know, peace in a way, you know.
I would say I'm living my best
Yeah,
life. I know that
that's it. Living your best life.
I am living my best life right now, and I think also, you know, with our practice, you know, doing the Tai Chi and this and that, I'm ever aware that the pendulum swings, and so when the pendulum is swinging up, I enjoy every minute of it, and I know that I go the other way, and I just try to be ready for whatever that might be. You know, we're all going to have adversities, whether it's, you know, the loss of a beloved pet, a family member, you know, business is slow. You have to be adaptable. I consider myself someone who, you know, kind of rolls with the punches.
Yeah,
know?
God, you're so similar to me, Stacy. That's exactly how I feel. You know, I take each day as it comes, every single day. And lately, since COVID and everything that's gone on, I feel like, and I'm not speaking about just myself, nearly every single person, friend, family member, everyone I know, we're all going through stuff, whatever it might be, you know, with someone being ill or financially or, you know, family troubles, whatever it is. The world's quite a difficult place now, isn't it?
It is. You know, I always made a general rule not to mix business and politics.
Definitely.
But
yeah,
I will say that, you know, speaking for events that happen in my own country, I feel like, you know, every grandparent says to their grandkids, you know, things were better back in my time. But I actually do think that things have changed a lot in these, you know, decades, you know, 10 years, 20 years. So even in my own hometown, you know, microcosm, Ithaca, New York, there's a lot out there that isn't pleasant. So I think the Instagram thing is pleasant.
Yeah.
For the most part, it is a haven. Contributes the ups.
It definitely is a haven and a place. And I think we can all tailor our Instagram to keep it pure and accounts that we like and we enjoy, because you can sometimes follow people and then all of a sudden you don't particularly like the look of your feed. And I do sometimes have a bit of a clear out. I don't know if you do.
Well, you know, I tend to, you know, follow my favorite jewelry accounts, you know, for enjoyment, education, learn, you know, hey, there's a picture of something you've got. Oh, what's that? I've never seen that before.
Yeah, and that's how we learn. And
but you know, there definitely probably are accounts for everyone, a show for everyone. I mean, I don't rock the numbers. I'm not the most attended show in the category of the antique and vintage live shows. I'm not. I don't top them. And sometimes, you know, I say, oh, well, maybe people don't like me anymore. They don't like my shows. And other sellers, you know, they're cranking away for 4 hours. They've got over 100 viewers. And I say, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong. But then again, I say, maybe I'm just doing something right.
No, you're definitely not doing something wrong. And I think you're doing something right. And I feel like, you know, I really enjoy your shows. I mean, sometimes they come on and I'm literally just going to bed. It might be midnight, you know, in the UK, and I'll watch for a bit. And you know, you make me feel, you know, you're so good and so welcoming and just pleasant. And I think that's there's no act, there's no sort of, you know, persona. It's just Stacy, and that's what I love. I don't know whether the followers agree with me, but you know, that to me is you know, to be pure and honest and be real and genuine, you know, is really important.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, it's nice to hear. It's good feedback. I would feel kind of silly acting, you know, because I'm probably going to be best at being myself and not any good at trying to be somebody else. And I like a good laugh. I've had some funny bloopers, and you know, you just have to laugh, you know.
Yeah,
and
definitely. That I agree with that. Just got to have a you know, when something funny happens, you know, just go with it. I had something funny happen to me 2 nights ago. I was feeding my horse and everybody was out in my house and I'd left my phone in the house, and I've got my horses are kept in a field and stables behind me, and I suddenly heard a bang of a door, and my horse was waiting for me to make her food, and I heard a click, and it was, you know, our stables have got a bolt, and I don't know if anyone's watching has got horses, but we have like a kicks thing that goes on the bottom of the door. You just do with your foot, like a slide, and the horse knocked the door, not the slide, and I was locked in my tack room for an hour with no phone. And I couldn't get out, and I could look through the hole in the door, and the horse was just looking at me like, give me my food, I want my food. And so I had no mobile phone. I was locked in the tack room. I couldn't do anything, and nobody was due back for ages. But luckily my youngest son pulled in the drive, and I had to scream, help, help. And when he came up to rescue me, Stacy, but he was laughing his head off. He thought it was so funny, but
not at that point. You can laugh about it now, but not at that point.
Well, but the funniest thing was my horse, because all she was doing was just looking at me with her one eye through the door. It was like, when are you coming out to give me food?
In there, you know, why can't I?
Yeah, it was so fun. Oh, earlier I meant to say, when you kindly reposted our live, you said about your cows. Do you have cows then, or were they neighbours' cows?
So it's what I call the best of all worlds. So I live on a country road, and across the road from me, like, you know, it's right there, and I'm looking out the window there, and it's where I stand, do the dishes. There's a window, and it's just, I have a bit of lawn, a narrow road, and then a huge field across the way that's owned by a man and his wife a little bit down the road. Now, what they do is it just grows beautiful grass and tall, and they rent the land to a Mennonite family who has cows, milking cows, and it happens every year. So they show up somewhere late April, May, and then until the cold weather, but they're pregnant cows. So they must need to separate them out and let them eat and just, you know, have a natural environment. And they usually bring about anywhere from 12 to 18 cows. And it's one of the highlights of my spring and summer into the fall. I'm one of the only humans they interact with, because I talk to them, and I say nice things to them. I tell them that they're beautiful. I usually name each one eventually. Like right now, there's one that's it's all brown, but when you look at it from across the street, it's like a white stripe just down its back. So we call that one Mario, even though it's a female.
Oh, Mario.
One gets a name, and then when the apples come, then I become their best friend, because I bring them apples every day, and they'll come, and so I visit with them, but I have no other responsibilities. It's just to interact with them and give them apples and tell them that they're beautiful. And it's wonderful. It's been a different group every year. I thought maybe the same ones would show up. I don't know anything about how you raise cows to have calves and all that. Maybe you got to give them a break like any other animal. So I'm hoping we'll cycle back someday to some of the ones I remember. They all have a number, and I don't know if their numbers get changed, but the number 108 was my favorite a couple years ago. And she was my first one who really responded to me, and I called her Mama. And I tested it, and it's no BS. You know, we like to think they connect to us, and maybe they don't. But I would go out sometimes, and they might be sitting in the field because maybe a thunderstorm is going to come. And
they always do that, cows, don't they? When they say rain's coming, a storm.
And one time I was looking out, and I was like, Mama, Mama, and all of a sudden this head goes, and I was like, oh my God, I've made a connection with a cow, and it felt wonderful. I'm from Long Island, you know, we don't have any cows there, you know, so you got cars and strip malls, and so it was a added benefit to purchasing this house that I have this, you know, interaction with cows, and I love it.
Well, I live in the countryside, and I do love to go to London, and I love New York, and I love going to a city. But to be honest, for me, I have to see green fields and countryside and cows. You know, like this morning, I walked my dog for an hour in the countryside, and I feel like that's where I go and just, you know, zone out for a bit and don't think of anything else. And I think we all need to have that, whatever that might be, you know, whether it's going to the gym, going for a bike ride, going for a walk, and you doing your Tai Chi. I think, especially in this Instagram, you know, phone tech world where we're all like got our phones glued to our hands all the time. You know, I know everyone keeps talking about mental health, but it really sets me up for the day. And I don't know about you, Stacey, but when I do something, I come back to work and I'm really full of inspiration and positivity because I've had a bit of chill out time. Do you find that?
I do. I think that's where the balance comes for me, you know, between our Tai Chi and teaching. And teaching is very rewarding. As I said, I was a social studies teacher, and I taught, you know, the kids maybe from 14 years old to 17. And many of them were wonderful, you know, great kids, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. So now I teach again, but I teach a group of people who've already self-selected themselves as wanting to be there, right? Yeah. More a kid that's sitting there like, oh my God, she's
bored as hell.
They're drooling, they're falling asleep. And but our students are enthusiastic. They're coming because they want to better themselves. They, you know, whether they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s. I think our oldest students are in their 80s. But you know, they're holding on to something. They want better balance. They want to you know, be with other people. There's a lot of reasons why people come. So it's pretty rewarding, you know, for me. So that re-energizes me. In fact, Sweetie was saying the other day, you know, kind of keeping that balance. He'll give all day, you know, to his students at the studio. And, you know, when he's done that and he's worked on his own practice, then he says he's ready to switch gears and then do a show. So we have this interesting life filled with, you know, unbelievable, fabulous, opulent, and interesting jewels. And then, you know, we wear black clothes like this and we're pretty plain and we sit there and do Qigong and Tai Chi.
Well, that you've got perfect harmony, haven't you, there? Because I think you've got, you know, that and the two worlds. Before I finish, I wanted to say, have you got anything that you can that's in stock at the moment, or any of your favorite pieces that you can show us, or did you not? Because I didn't warn you about that.
Of course I do. Of course I do. So,
because I'm sure everyone's thinking, music. Cut all this chit chat. Show us the stuff.
All right. The first night, I have one piece that's just in that is for sale, and it's due to be in my Saturday show. But you know, I certainly am not going to say no if somebody wants to purchase it.
Yeah, come on, people.
And so I'm also known for big rings, kapow rings. Like, this is my.
I was going to say. Oh, and your nails. Wow.
Yeah.
So what stone is that? It's good that it's a kapow ring, because on these lives you can't see them on the split screen.
I'll turn the camera around. It's a cool light. It's a you know, it's a turn of the century silver pool of light ring. It's one of my first gifts.
Pool of light ring. So I was going to say, is it rock crystal?
I know, how rare, right?
Fantastic.
So I'm going to grab the phone. Let's see if this goes well. And I'll try not to hang up on it.
Brave woman.
All right, the phone is released. I'll turn the camera around and we'll see what we got. So just to let you know what I'm going to show you, I've got a couple of trays of things that are just mine. And people, I don't want to appear proprietary on your show.
No, I want you to do this. This is what it's about.
Oh,
you know, it's I want you to show the jewelry. Come on.
Oh, come
on. Look.
All right.
This is exciting.
That's for sale that I just got.
It's an amethyst. What is that? 14, 18 carat. That's beautiful.
Okay, it's a nice, good size piece. And
it looks Italian to me, Stacey. Is it continental?
I am not entirely sure. I literally just got it.
It's beautiful.
I'm still in the process of giving it.
It's like a fleur-de-lis, isn't it?
Yes, it is like a fleur-de-lis, but it's a nice big piece, and I'm super happy. A lot of times I get things like this in gold fill, and it's not always easy in upstate New York to find things like this. So that one is hot off the presses, so to speak, and it is for sale.
Okay, so if anybody wants to ask Stacey about that, you know, it's Stacey's handles is Sheldon Hill Vintage Jewelry. So, but I guess you must be following if you're. Oh, look at this, a Riviere.
So I have
a bracelet.
It's absolutely fabulous, and it's part of what I call the mine inventory. It could be it's mine. It could be yours. but I've never shown it until this moment because the obvious reason, like it's just so good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a
gorgeous. Is that silver gilt or is it gold?
It's gilt.
Yeah.
And so
they're amethyst.
Yeah, all amethyst. So this is a pretty outstanding bracelet and necklace.
Do you mind me asking how much are you asking for those? They're fantastic.
This set, and I want to say that it's a nice generous size at perhaps 17.5 inches.
Oh, that's a good
this one
length. Yeah.
I'm going to ask $19.50 for the set.
Yeah.
And this
and the fleur
here, I got a pretty good price on it, so I'm passing it along. That's a lot of 14K.
Yeah.
$9.75.
Yeah, it looks a really solid, substantial piece. It looks very good quality. So that one's $9.75. I mean, they're both lovely rings.
So this is my ring from Sweetie, my pool of light.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it's just one of my all-time favorites. And that's what I mean. It doesn't have to always be gold for me. This is silver. It's one of my all-time favorite pieces.
I mean, that literally, that's going to look after you, that ring. It's sort of got something magical about it, hasn't it?
It does.
You know, it really, really special. I think rock crystal, because I've got quite a big rock crystal heart, which is just in a pure gold frame. And whenever I wear it, I don't know, it always feels cool against my body. You know, that's rock crystal. They say it's got healing properties, don't they? It's magical.
So
look at this. So this is a kapow ring, guys.
This is available. I've never shown it before. So my center stone, old mine cut, approximately 90 points.
Yeah. So there's some big content there.
Yeah, it's a heck of a ring, and if anybody loves it, it's in platinum. Here it is, just for scale. And so that one, given
your nails are beautiful, Stacy. You've got lovely hands as well.
Yeah, I've got really big hands. I mean, I wear 9.25 here, and but I have the benefit of long fingers.
Yeah.
And I had to put my middle finger short because I couldn't get my contact lenses out because they were looking me in the eye. So I finally had to give in.
I've had that with nails before because I've got contact lenses in today. But and how much is the Marquise ring? That's beautiful.
So this one I'm asking $3,500, and again,
but there's some content in there. What's the total content of the diamonds?
I would say 1.5, about a little bit over 2.5.
Yeah.
I've got 275.
Yeah.
So there's a 1.5, another one.
I mean, that's a pure deco ring, that one, isn't it?
It's fabulous. It's a fabulous piece.
Yeah.
And, now I'm gonna just kind of hold you there for a sec. I know we're gonna go over a bit, but I'm known for kapow rings, and so this is not for sale, but it's one of my all-time favorites.
We want to see. Oh my God! Look,
a true.
That is fantastic, isn't it? A real bomb-shaped ring. Wow!
I love it. So good. So this is just a little sneak peek. It rarely.
Let's have a look.
But this is my box of rings, and that's just some of them. And these are my kapow rings.
Wow.
And it's
that's
the style.
That's sort of what your USP is, isn't it? Kapow rings. I was going to ask you that. What's your USP? And I think that's your sort of go-to. Wow. What stone is that?
It actually looks like a lemon citrine, but it tests as a yellow sapphire. Of course, I have to probably assume that it is lab created, although if it turns to be the real deal, then I'm retiring and it's all over. You see how big it is, but it's a really beautiful ring with the enameling, and it's a fan favorite of my collection. It actually used to belong to Thing Finder. Now this is my collection of garnets.
Oh,
I like horseshoes, bohemian garnets, crescents, and so.
Oh my God! Thank you for sharing. It's fantastic, Stacy. Look, all the horseshoes.
This is what I
like that one.
It's my pendant.
Oh, and a crescent.
So it's taken me, 20 years to curate and get these pieces that I just
they're lovely.
So much. And I know everyone's like, oh my gosh, why don't you sell that stuff? Well, because it's taken me 20 years.
Yeah.
And these are just trays. This is what I put all my stuff in the shows in. And then one more tray. This is also what I like to collect. I love citrines. you never get true. Those of you watching the show.
Oh, look at that lapis horseshoe. I love that. I love lapis lazuli. I love that electric blue.
Right? And to have these horseshoes, there's my amethyst one with the seed pearl, and they're large too.
Yeah.
It's taken.
I can see that's fairly substantial, that one, isn't it? It's quite chunky.
You know. And I like agates. I love banded agates, moss agates, and more of my amethyst collection.
Oh,
and they're
oh, Stacy, look at that crescent. Oh my God.
See, people think all I do, you know, like they don't think they know that I know anything about this stuff. The thing of it is sorry, folks, you know, I'm a collector like you. Look at the size of this. So yeah, I've got some pretty nice pieces, and this is one of my all-time favorites as well. This was a present from Sweetie at Christmas time.
It's beautiful, the star and crescent. He's
So good.
Really in tune with you, isn't he? Like the pool of light ring and that. I think you were destined to be together.
You know, he's learned so much. He didn't know anything about jewelry. In fact, he's a very Spartan person. To him, initially, he may have thought, what am I doing with this woman with all this stuff? But he's come to understand that he realizes that jewelry is sentimental and special, and he sees it every week.
Sentimental. That's the whole essence of jewelry. Yeah. Oh, do you know what? I'm just like, thank you so much for sharing that. And I tell you what, Stacy, I can feel when you talk about it, the passion and love. You know, they're like all your little babies.
Or, you know, and I chose, you know, what I wanted to wear. I don't want to overdo it. I've got my Victorian long guard here. Maybe I can blow that up a bit. So I've wrapped it around twice. All four.
That's gorgeous. You know, and your coral, look at those Victorian coral earrings. They're gorgeous. The Nepalese earrings, aren't they lovely?
Love.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Yeah,
I love the fact that you're wearing it all, because I get a bit lazy and I've got my mic power ring on, which is not very clean. Look how dirty that is, and that's a beautiful aquamarine as well.
Love it.
And then I've got on a diamond line bracelet, which I took from the shop, which was a bit of a naughty thing, and this I've had for years.
The snake. That's
one of those. They're sort of like a 1960s, but I just love how it clings. You know, it's got a metal spring inside it. It's only 9 carat, but I love it. I love the look of it, you know. So I've loved seeing all your jewelry. Oh, thank you so much for sharing, Stacy.
I'll just give you an idea. Like, there's the amethyst necklace.
Yeah, let's have a round up of these things, guys. So if anyone sees any of these things, message me and I can forward you to Stacy, or just message Stacy directly. But that is, I mean, that's going to be snapped up, that amethyst riviere and the bracelet.
It's so good. Yeah, I've never shown it. I got the courage today to possibly let it out of the mine inventory. It could be mine, it could be yours.
Mine inventory. Yeah, one of those ones that you can't make your mind up, but if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Would you send me some pictures of those, Stacy, and I'll share them on the stories later, and then if anybody wants to, you know, ask, because I just think it's good to show what we've talked about in the show. Yeah,
I had to pick a few nice pieces. So yeah, this was fun. Of course, the hour goes so quickly. And,
I know. I know. I've just got a couple of other little questions before I round off, because I thought, do you have any pets? You have a dog, don't you?
I've had dogs, but not at the present time. I have 2 cats. They're about 5 years old, maybe 6 times gone by, and they were litter mates, and their names are Hazel Nutty Bar. Hey. So Hazel Nutty Bar, and then she's just transformed to Nutty, and she's like beigeish with these kind of crossed blue eyes, but she doesn't look Siamese, so I don't understand what she's all about. And the other is a classic, beautiful black cat named Opal. And
I love that, a black cat named Opal. That's so suitable, isn't it?
She has a heart of gold. She's a beautiful soul, And so together, Nutty is a little bit more skittish and doesn't really. She's actually a big, strong cat. Like she'd never have any fears in the world. But she's a little nervous. But together, they're a wonderful pair. And so those are my animals now.
Oh, I love animals, and I always like to ask everyone if they've got animals, and because I think it's nice when we can share them on the stories, isn't it? And have a little bit of the animal life as well into our Instagram life, which just opens up a bit, you know, to what the person's like. And one of the other questions, which are you left or right-handed?
I'm right-handed.
Oh, you're right-handed, because I a few people were left, but it's 50-50 at the moment. I was thinking, oh, there's a common denominator, because a few people were left, but I think the rights are winning actually at the moment. But and if this is probably going to throw you, because I haven't warned you about any of these, but if you were stranded on a desert island and you could take one thing, what do you think you'd take with you?
Yeah, just give me a sec, because I could probably.
Yeah, that's just thrown you a bit, isn't it?
Island, and I need one thing,
Sweetie.
You know, Sweetie is a very resourceful man. So, you know, in terms of his skill set, together we probably could make it happen. He's a carpenter trade, so he's a very handy person, and he's kind of like the MacGyver thing going on. So, of course, in terms of a person, but if I couldn't take a person, it was just me. Holy cow! I don't know. I have to eat and stuff.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because I think you need more than one thing. You know.
I guess I'll have to go like, you know, all like, you know, out there and just say the thing I would need would just be my peace of mind.
Yeah.
You know, just to know that regardless if that was going to be my fate, I could just live it and, you know, find a coconut and figure out how to speak.
Just manage. Oh God, it's a strange thought. But in this plastic world that we live in, reliant on tech and electricity and television, you know, it's funny to sort of be remote yourself. You just can't imagine it, can you? I can't.
But I would just, you know, that would be my life. I'd do Qigong, I'd do Tai Chi, I'd spear a fish, find a coconut, I'd make sand mandalas, keep myself busy. I'd sing.
Yeah, and it's about your mind, isn't it? And I guess through Tai Chi, you know how to do that, really. You've got that peace side of you, you know, where you can meditate. Because is Tai Chi meditation as well?
It is. Yeah. They call Tai Chi a moving meditation. So if you learn a routine, 24 moves, 48 moves, 108 moves, once you figure out how to do the moves, and then it's not so choppy, like start and stop, then you just move from move to move. So the whole idea is you move like water. You just float back and forth. And then, I think as a result of that, you can bring your blood pressure down. You know, you have a fight with the kid or something. I
should try Tai Chi, because I like the idea. To me, it feels like it's quiet and not. I don't want anything to, you know. I'm very wound and wired in life as it is, so I want something to make me feel more relaxed. That's why I quite like yoga. You know,
the difference is where yoga might, you know, be static positions that you hold, and then you move into another one. Once you learn the Tai Chi routine, and you know, you're good to go whether you practice with others or by yourself. Once you start, you just keep going, and so you don't have a lot of time in between moves to think about the grocery list, you know, the phone call that you have to have later, or the customer that you need to attend to. You're only there in the moment, and when you can be there just in the moment, it gives you that break from all of the stresses of life.
I must look to see if there's a class locally to me, because talking to you and how you are, and I know how you are as a person, you know, I feel like I should do that. I think I would probably like that, Stacy. So I wonder if there's a class near me.
Tell you what, when you come for the trip in New York, even if we get a few people together, I'll give everybody you know, whatever they want. 20.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Be my pleasure. I'd love to do it.
Oh,
I mean, to me,
I'd be like so, you know, honestly honoured to do that with you. It would be, and I feel like it's something like a calling that I need to do it.
I can teach you a few things that, you know, would be simple enough to remember, and you can take it back home, and then it becomes real. That's what we do. It's not, you don't hold it like a miser, you give it away.
Yeah. Well, I think life itself, you know, we're all so blessed to have a life and go on this journey, and everyone you meet, it's like experiencing the jewelry and talking to you now, it's like a little bit of treasure, isn't it, really? Just something that you experience, and that you're, you know, honored and lucky to meet these people along the way, you know. So thank you so much, Stacy, for doing this live with me. I knew I would love chatting to you, and I've got 3 pages of lists of questions, and I thought, I don't even know why I'm bothering to do it, because I haven't really referred to it, because I knew we would just find it easy to chat, you know, without even asking the question. So I guess I better let you go now. And the shop is closed now, so the staff have all gone. I just stayed on to chat to you because I felt it was better to talk at 5 o'clock, and especially when my shop is shut, because I was doing them before a bit earlier at 3 o'clock and the shop was still open, and then people would want to knock on the door, and people were coming and going, and it's distracting, isn't it, when you're doing a live?
Absolutely, absolutely, for sure.
But thank you so much, Stacy, for showing us those pieces of jewelry. I've loved, and your collection. Oh my God, you've just got some amazing pieces. I just loved it.
I'm pretty. This was the first time I've ever really shown any of this.
Thank you. Thank you for doing it on my live. And well, I'm coming definitely for sure in October, so I'm going to give you the dates. And I don't want to miss you. You're one of the few on my list that I must hook up with, you know.
And however we do it, I'll be there. You just name the time and place.
And hopefully you'll come to England at some point. But I know our paths are going to cross sooner or later. But I'm going to say goodbye to Sweetie, and I'm gonna unfollow you or uninvite you now, and then I'll just hook off. But Stacy, have a fantastic weekend. I hope your live goes well tomorrow.
Thank you, and it was a pleasure, and I hope that your night goes well, because I guess it's getting closer to your bedtime.
I think we're going out for Chinese tonight. I don't know, so I'm looking forward to that. Anyway,
see you next.
Bye, Stacy.
Bye.
Oh, wasn't she gorgeous? I really loved chatting to Stacy. I can't believe I've got so many questions I didn't ask her, but I just thought, I've just looked at the time, and we started at 5 and it's gone 6. I've been talking for over an hour. I can imagine some of you have sort of popped on and popped off, because you wouldn't be sitting there for over an hour watching us talk. I'm sure you've got life to get on with. Anyway, I must go now. But I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for joining my live and supporting Stacy and I. Don't forget, if you're interested in Stacy's gorgeous amethyst riviere and bracelet, or that beautiful Art Deco ring and the fleur-de-lis 14-carat amethyst pendant, drop her a message, because they're not going to hang around for long. Stacy's prices are so good. Are you kidding? I've been here the whole time. Oh my God, thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. I have had a few comments before where people have said to me, oh my God, you can talk. Yeah, I can. Anybody that wants to chat to me about antique jewelry, I will talk all day long. Listen, if there's anyone that's following that would like to come on a live with me at some point, please message me, and we'll see if we can get it together. I think I've possibly got Charlotte from Plaza Jewellery next Friday. I will check on my list, but I've got quite a few people, really interesting people to talk to, and hopefully that we don't have anything happen in between, because sometimes they don't always go ahead, either if something happens in my life or in the person's life where they have to postpone. But you know, that's the way it is. Nothing's set in stone. I don't know. Right, I'm gonna say goodbye now. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend. See you all soon.